NDA Technical Official 2003, immediate past president, Nigeria Fencing Federation 2007-2011, and International Ambassador 2011 to date. Secretary General OOF to date, President, the General Concern Foundation Incorporation 1994 up to date, is a serving district overseer in first one with lecture. Please deserve a round of applause. Professor Odeleye is married to Reverend Dr. Mrs. Abidemi Odeleye, and they have 3 good children, Toby, Tope, and Damilola. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present to you today 3 ideas, Prof. Toby and Abidemi for the entire several local fields. This African consulting teacher, this resourceful and assiduous academic, servant of the Most High God, a seasoned administrator, and founding father of education. This is University Father, in whose honor we are gathered here today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is Professor Abidemi Odeleye. This is University Father. Thank you.
That was the advice from an older friend. Even though I played second in my class behind Yusuf Ali, now in the state of Nigeria, with all my efforts, I could not change my course. That experience stabilized me gradually throughout my undergraduate program, but was the tonic required to steer me into the twin profession of teaching and helping. Therein, I have the privilege of being celebrated today. A clear testimony of when faith presents you with lemon, you turn into lemon. I'm indeed grateful to God. Vice Chancellor, sir, I belong to the State Congress to the Vedic Top System in the Ivory Tower, where our focus is human capital training and development, specifically. I'm a member of the Faculty of Arts and Education, where our consuming passion and commitment is to prepare high-caliber, cutting-edge education for the 21st century. I believe education is a solid tool for socio-economic and cultural change. I believe that educated citizenry will ultimately correlate in an economically viable and politically sustainable world. I'm proud to be a professional counselor in psychology.
That time, this is the 9th series of the Nobel lecture entitled Biblical Spiritual Parenting and Psychotherapeutic Pedagogic Engineering, Nigeria's Deliverance,
concerned with my contributions to resolve the problem, as well as my professional activities and research agenda.
Professor of Counseling Psychology.
The program is what I refer to as the way forward. In the Faculty of Arts and Education, my operational base is the Department of Guidance and Counseling, where I have the honor of being the first professor of counseling psychology.
The following.
Counseling psychology, which is also known as guidance and counseling, is a part of a generic discipline called psychotherapy, which literally devotes itself to the utilization of psychological principles and methods to resolve human challenges. This lecture, I will be using the two terms interchangeably.
Yes, Professor of
Encyclopedia Britannica defines guidance and counseling as the process of helping individuals discover and develop their educational, vocational, and psychological potentialities and thereby to achieve an optimal level of personal happiness and social usefulness. In general terms, this guidance and counseling is focused on three key issues. First, to help the individual understand himself, his areas of strength and weakness and potentials. Two, to help the individual gain adequate knowledge of the world around him, the people, the opportunities, and the possible challenges. Three, to guide the individual in making well-informed choices based on key self-appraisal and environmental dynamics. I believe most of human challenges may be traceable to either poor counsel or no counsel at all.
He had his elementary education at the University of North between 1965 to 1966 and Baptist Primary School, Lonely Day, Ibadan, 1972. He attended Baptist Primary School at Abeokuta, 1973 to 1977, Olivet High School, Oyo, and the Polytechnic Ibadan between 1977 and 1978. He had his university education at University now Obafemi University, where he had BA Education History 1982, MA Education and Counseling 1997, and PhD in Counseling Psychology 2000. Professor Donald Odeleye is a highly regarded university teacher and bureaucrat within and outside Nigeria. He has held several positions in university, which include pioneer head, Department of Educational Management, acting dean, Faculty of Art and Education, head, counselor, and teacher education, head, Department of Guidance and Counseling, head, Department of Art and Science Education. He co-facilitated a successful roundtable conference on gifted education and talented development. The first to be organized by education in collaboration with
Pastoral Councilors often integrate modern psychological thought, a method of traditional religious training, and an effort to address psycho-spiritual issues in addition to the traditional spectrum.
Having over 70 articles in national and international journals, they won the best presentation award. Yes, you want to clap.
The role of God in the ministry of health.
They won the best presentation award at the John International Conference, Academic Business International Conference on Learning and Academic Administration in Higher Education in USA 2020. He is a counselor and life coach to several academics and non-academics. He has successfully supervised and mentored several doctoral candidates. He has also served as external examiner and consultant to several institutions. Professor Odeleye academic leadership is further, has already given me a lot of membership to some editorial teams of reputable journals such as British Journal of Guidance and Counseling,
world and heavenly unidentified objects. 3. God is the one sustaining the universe. Human race is limited. Human race always have needs that humans cannot satisfy. God is the only one that can satisfy all human needs. God made man in his own image and after his own likeness. God made humanity, his wisest creature, as an extension of himself to showcase his splendor. God knows all things and can do all things. God has the answer to all human challenges. The Bible is God's life manual for humanity. The Bible presents God's recipe for wholesome living. Jesus of Nazareth is the mold and pattern for every individual aspiring to divine approval and excellence. Thus, if the human race listens to and follows God's instructions, there will be serenity, peace, and progress in the world. I submit that the present global restiveness, moral degradation, terrorism, man's inhumanity to man, and potential nuclear destruction will be checkmated if nations will return to God. This is in the same sense that if an individual wants to maximize the potential of his Toyota car, the best place for service and repairs will be the authentic Toyota company. Landmarks. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, today marks several milestones in my life and in this city university's pursuit of excellence. Firstly, for me, prophecy is being fulfilled today that I will stand before kings and not before men. Secondly, this provides me the latitude to make a branded statement on the place of spiritual parenting, pastoral counseling, and the return of schools to the private sector in Nigeria's revitalization. Thirdly, it means our efforts at establishing a cutting-edge department of guidance and counseling is being actualized with this maiden inaugural lecture. Fourthly, my marriage to my friend of 37 years, Oluwatoyin Abike, will be 29 years in 3 days' time by God's grace. Consideration for the title. I serve by godly parents, versatile counselors, and truly professional teachers hold the key to Nigeria's socio-economic and cultural renewal. Thus, this inaugural lecture is titled Biblical Spiritual Parenting and Psychotherapeutic Pedagogic Engineering, Nigeria's deliberate. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Judges chapter 17, verse 6. Life in Nigerian communities as recently as in the 1970s and early 1980s was organized, orderly, and almost predictable. The public service was both effective and efficient. Those were the days of best practices when matters were dealt with as at when due, because most leaders seemed more concerned with posterity rather than personal prosperity. There was no need to have a godfather before you got attended to. For instance, after my national service in 1983, I had 2 job offers in the civil service without lobbying for any of them. However, things are different now. The opposite is the rule of practice. To benefit from the system, you need to know someone or be connected to a middleman. Or you may have to buy your way to obtain what you want. Virtues such as probity, integrity, honor, sincerity, and honesty, which are all marks of developed societies around the world, are strange in contemporary Nigeria. As our age-long virtues of honesty, probity, sincerity, honor, and diligence were replaced with vices such as selfishness, deceitfulness, materialism, covetousness, and pride, everyone indeed seems to be doing what seems right in their own eyes. Many will do anything to get something. I have seen undergraduates who are parents caught cheating in examination, and I wonder, what lessons of life will they bequeath to their own children? Signs of parental failure. Another generation arose which knew not the Lord, nor yet the works of the Lord which he did for Israel. Judges chapter 2 and verse number 10. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, parental failure in this lecture refers to the situation in which parents have abandoned their roles as gatekeepers and good role models for their offspring. Parental failure may be the result of mounting social pressures, personal issues, marital breakdown, globalization, financial hardship and misdirect priorities, marital breakdown, and so on. Indices of parental failure include, but it's not limited to, child abuse, marital breakdown, bankruptcy, spouse battery, emotional abuse, neglect of parental responsibilities, and prolonged absence of parents from home. In a nutshell, parental failure is when the parent is unwilling to perform his parenting duties. Parental failure in the life of a child is akin to when an organ such as the heart fails. It is unable to pump blood around the body. Parental failure presents a challenge to national cohesion and development. With the following indices of parental failure, you may want to check and see whether you are succeeding or failing as a parent. Parental failure is when parent is unable to carry out his functions as shepherd, caretaker, provider, and life molder of the child. It is when a parent commits acts that are inimical to the overall health of the child, such as battery and lying. It is prolonged absence of a parent from the home to take care of the needs of the child. It is when the parent abuses the child emotionally, sexually, and physically, or physically. It's when the child is left to seek parental guidance from the social media and all other sources. It is when parent is unavailable at the child's critical moment of need. It is when a parent fails to discipline the child whenever necessary. Parental failure is when parents compare siblings, not discerning that even Siamese twins are different. Parental failure is when the parent is unwilling to provide for the child's basic needs such as food, shelter, and education. It is when the parent is not a good role model for the child. It is when the parent has failed morally. It is when the child has confidence in friends and others than in the parents. Parental failure is when parents, father and mother, hold to irresolvable perspectives on how to raise their children. Parental failure is when the child is left to navigate life without parental guidance or support. Socioeconomic and cultural downturn. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, it has been suggested that Nigeria is a failed state. Yoruba leaders recently noted that the failure of Nigeria is manifested by the highest global percentage of children out of school in excess of 15 million. That's the largest internally displaced persons, IDPs, in the country not at war. And 72% poverty level in 2016, and it's still increasing. With an estimated population of over 190 million, Nigeria is the world's seventh largest country, and 62% of the population are under the age of 25. During the Anubiasode 2013 maintained that poverty, corruption, and impunity and profound ignorance are the primary issues in Nigeria's present difficulty. Moral failure cuts across the society without gender discrimination. Agomo 2013 pointed out that most of our public office holders are people who are not capable of running their homes, but have manipulated their ways into high leadership positions through the already corrupt electoral process. The Bible says that anyone aspiring to public leadership should be such that has his home under control and with well brought up children. Secularization of the pedagogy. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, pedagogy in this lecture encompasses the whole program utilizing education to build an enlightened citizenry. From the 19th century, formal education in Nigeria was established by a combination of missionary and philanthropic initiatives. Odeleye and Odeleye 2012 maintained that it was mission agencies that sponsored Nigeria's sponsored Nigerian schools. The colonial government's role then was to provide an enabling environment for the schools to thrive. Appropriate laws were enacted to ensure that the schools met basic standards set by the government. Also, government granted grants and aid to the mission schools to ensure optimal standards. The schools had high standards of discipline and moral instruction. Prayers and hymns and the Bible were the basic aspects of school life. Probity, diligence, honor, and integrity were the hallmarks of most of the schools. Over time, the first set of government schools were established to cater for the education needs of non-Christian community in Lagos and to present models for the Christian missionary schools. Still, most of the schools were owned and operated by missionary agencies such as Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, Anglican, Christian Missionary Society, among others. This situation persisted all through the post-independence period up to the 1970s. This was to change with the takeover of schools by government. Ezugu 2013 concluded that the beginning of problems in primary and secondary school education sector in Nigeria is traceable to the Schools Takeover Validation Decree of 1977. He opined that the decree validated the takeover of mission and voluntary agency schools by state military governors through their respective edicts. The decree ousted the jurisdiction of courts to entertain on issues on schools takeover and voided all cases in courts on the issue. It made payment or compensation to owners of schools taken over by government discretionary. Prayers were outlawed in schools, thus paving the way for liberalized social control and moral breakdown. The takeover brought undue pressure on the economy as government had to commit scarce human, financial, and material resources in running the schools. Over time, most of the schools became a shadow of their old selves, and that led to the preponderance of private schools, some of which were substandard. With our age-long system of values being eroded by vices and materialism fueled with parental failure and secularization of education, Nigeria may have arrived at a precipice, but all hope is not lost. And I'm grateful for this privilege to provide a potent antidote in this lecture. Let me pause at this juncture and consider biblical spiritual parenting. What is parenting? Parenting is the process of promoting and supporting the physical, emotional, social, financial, and intellectual development of a child from infancy to adulthood. The primary thrust of the parent's role is to care for and nurture the child into mature and responsible adulthood. My position is that parenting should be lifelong. There are many parenting styles that parents adopt in raising their children. And you may want to agree with some of them. You may want to find yourself in some of these as well. I'm presenting some here. Positive parenting, attachment or natural parenting, unconditional or conscious parenting, spiritual or holistic parenting, deliberate or purposive parenting, slow or nurturant parenting, authoritative parenting, authoritarian or dictatorial parenting, permissive or indulgent parenting, uninvolved or neglectful parenting, matrilineal parenting, communal parenting, sacred cow parenting, elitist parenting, absentee parenting, helicopter parenting, narcissistic parenting, toxic parenting, biblical spiritual parenting, substitute or surrogate parenting, foster parenting. Now, what is spiritual parenting? Spiritual parenting refers to an innovative approach to parenting. Spiritual parenting expects parents to rely on God and His Word for guidance in their role as parents. Spiritual parenting involves learning to create a home environment that is conducive to shaping the hearts and minds of children. Effective use of spiritual parenting will provide the parents with an opportunity to cultivate a vibrant faith in the child. In my own opinion, the Bible presents a perfect manual for parenting. I define biblical spiritual parenting, BSP, as the art of guiding the individual to live the total life, incorporating spiritual, intellectual, social, emotional, and physical health. It is the utilization of biblical ordinances and principles to train, disciple, and establish the person being parented. The biblical spiritual parenting is the Holy Spirit at work in human vessels to demonstrate the life of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. The fundamental principle in biblical spiritual parenting is that God is the source of all wisdom required to live the good life. The Bible affirms that God knows all things and is capable of doing all things. Therefore, if anyone that aligns himself fully with God and faithfully obeys divine commandments, may be able to parent children successfully. I submit that parental guidance is a function of the parent's relationship with God. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in biblical spiritual parenting, it is the parent's duty to make out quality time to be with each member of the family on a regular basis. The parent should have a meaningful relationship with each of the children. This is one primary role of parents. Biblical spiritual parenting affirms that it is the man's duty to give direction in the home. The woman is a helper well suited to the man. While it is not out of place for the woman to take on some of the man's duties such as child rearing, the bulk in every
every matter still starts with the man. The man has responsibility to teach, to instruct, and to lead every member of his family in righteousness and in the fear of the Lord. In a single parent's home, the parent figure, whether male or female, naturally takes on the shepherding role. Unity between the man and his wife in nurturing the children is a critical aspect of biblical spiritual parenting. It is in the unity of the home that biblical spiritual parenting is strongest. The Bible declares that two are better than one, and when one is called, the other makes one. Biblical spiritual parenting should be passed from generation to generation. For instance, even though Timothy's father was Greek, his mother Eunice was a devotee of Jesus Christ. Eunice was raised and nurtured in the way of the Lord by her own mother, Lois. As biblical spiritual parenting model is imbibed by Nigerian parents and their children, in no distant time, families, communities, and indeed the whole nation will begin to experience socio-economic and cultural transformation. Biblical spiritual parenting extends beyond the biological relationship. The association between Paul and Timothy is a classical example of biblical spiritual parenting without physiological link. Paul declared that he was sure that Timothy would naturally care for the Christians at Philippi, just as Paul would have done. In other words, Timothy had imbibed all that Paul stood for. This is the true essence of biblical spiritual parenting. There are several powerful examples of biblical spiritual parenting in the Bible. But I'm not going to go into them here because they're already in the lecture. They include God, Abraham, Mordecai, and Jesus of Nazareth. My experience at parenting, Mr. Vice Chancellor Sala, I can assure you I may not be a perfect parent, but permit me to share some gleanings of some of my experiences in parenting. At the start of our family life in 1988, my wife and I decided to give our children the best all-round training possible. Founded on strong biblical principles, we try to teach them virtually all life's lessons we think they will need to excel in life. Spiritual, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor considerations were uppermost in our minds. To a great extent, I can attest to the fact that each of our children cultivated these virtues. This was variously accomplished in the home, at school, in church, and in sports. Virtues such as respect, integrity, honor, diligence, etiquette, and manners were for the most part informally passed on to them. They were trained in various sports, including swimming, soccer, taekwondo, gymnastics, basketball, table tennis, lawn tennis, and karate, among others. They memorized several passages of the Bible and were quite useful in church activities. Our intention was not so much to make our children superstars, although each of them is a champion in his own right. We wanted them to be well adjusted in the world and be responsible citizens. I am quite grateful God granted this our request. Time and again, thousands of kilometers away from home, we get great feedback from the children who are now grown. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I'm persuaded the parents hold the ace to turning around the fortunes of Nigeria. Once parents take their nurturing functions more seriously, our children will become global trailblazers and field-setters. Nigeria will assume a rightful place in the Committee of Nations. My contribution to knowledge. In 1984, I investigated the personality typology of extraversion as correlate of career choice among staffers of University of Ife, now Abidemi Odeleye University. Findings emanating from the study confirm preference of person-oriented activities by extroverts and task-oriented activities by introverts. Abidemi Odeleye in 1989 contended that there is a strong relationship between personality type and career choice. We recommended that employment officers should make increasing use of personality tests and vocational inventories to ascertain the preferred activities and hidden talents of prospective workers as a way of maximizing productivity and job satisfaction. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I have paid my dues in professional counseling, where I belong to the first generation of guidance counselors in federal unity schools. I had the privilege of being one of the coordinators of the Gifted Education Program of Federal Ministry of Education from 1988 to 1990. I proceeded for my PhD program in 1996 at my alma mater, Abidemi Odeleye University. My research was centered on undergraduate clothing behavior. My recommendation for students' dress codes has since been adopted by several Nigerian universities, starting with the University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, and Abidemi Odeleye University. For years now, this city University, Ibadan, has also adopted my recommendation. Answering parental concerns with their teenagers and young adults dressing, with pierced ears and noses, dirty jeans, skimpy dresses, spaghetti straps, and other weird dress styles, I agree with other researchers that fashion statements by adolescents are only part of the growth process into adulthood. So parents and guardians, you do not need to be alarmed by such a social behavior. Allow Odeleye 2006 in a study, Faith and Gender, any correlation with clothing behavior, concluded that gender and religiosity were reliable predictors of clothing habits. The subject of peer and social influence on the clothing habits of individuals again was reaffirmed. In 2008, I investigated the relationship between the variables of locus of control and personality, stability, and clothing behavior of young people. I further asserted that clothing behavior is an extension of personality. Thus, it is comforting to parents, counselors, teachers, and other stakeholders that the child may be able to adjust into adulthood more easily with observation of his dressing. Still on clothing behavior, Ojo and Odeleye 2008 examining clothing habits and sexual behavior contemporarily of adolescents in southwestern Nigeria posited that there is a relationship between sexual behavior and clothing habits. This accentuates the thesis that provocative dressers may be actually seductive. This makes dress codes imperative in schools. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I and one of my doctoral students presented a landmark paper which has become a reference point for work on Nigeria's educational future. We posited that a combination of public-private partnerships and return to the golden era of 1955 to 1964 might help to reposition Nigeria for a better future. As a follow-up, in 2009, I contributed a chapter in Professor Bello Imam's 7-point agenda titled Repositioning Nigeria's Education for Relevance in the 21st Century. I submitted that education remains one of the fundamental factors of development as it has the potential of enriching people's understanding of themselves and the world. I concluded that no nation or community can progress beyond the level of our human capital development, and that political stability is actually a function of the quality of human capital. The underdevelopment of Nigeria, indeed, the third world, is in fact usually adduced to the failure of successive governments to invest appropriately in education. Working with one of my doctoral students in 2009, we came to a conclusion that basic education is undoubtedly an important tool for achieving political stability and national goals. We suggested a redefinition of counselor roles in basic education. We also advocated utilization of guidance and counseling services in human resources and overall national planning for sustainable development. In 2010, I am one of the leading lights in professional and academic publishing, also an associate professor of mass communication at Lee City University. Research into book publishing and educulturalism. The thrust of the work was on synergy creation between publishing and human capital development. We suggested, among others, the imperative for mentoring and counseling support for young academics to help them publish papers in reputable journals. Two of my PhD candidates students and I investigated the relationship between couples' behavior and crisis in marriage. We discovered that sex, communication, and finance were the principal causes of marital breakdown. We recommended that couples should have periodic consultations with marriage counselors. Odeleye 2012b reaffirmed that university education remains a major player in the socio-economic revamping of Africa, even though most African national governments may have not sufficiently leveraged the high outputs of the private sector for educational development. I noted that with fewer infrastructures, the private schools seem to be thriving much more than their publicly funded counterparts. I suggested that government should engage specific PPP approaches such as privatization of selected public institutions, private sector endowments, and partnership with property development developers in revamping public education. I also proposed that collaboration could be encouraged between private and public universities in linkages and sabbatical appointments. In 2013, in a paper titled Checkmating the Upsurge of Domestic Terrorism in Nigeria, a counseling psychologist's perspective, consensus factors and various forms of domestic violence were discussed. My contribution is that the state of domestic terrorism in Nigeria could be controlled, if not outrightly eliminated, if counseling clinics were set up at all levels of education and even in the public service. I examined the systemic decadence of the Nigerian society with a view to profiling ecclesiastical and secular suggestions for revival. I suggested that biblical spiritual parenting should be encouraged and adopted at all strata of life, from the home to the community. Religious leaders and clerics of all faiths should make mentoring and role modeling top priority for their congregations. Odeleye 2014e. In a paper, How to Enhance Your Life's Marriage, I submitted that the multifarious challenges facing both young and old people demand that counseling psychologists should work hard at cultivating soft skills. I maintain that soft skills differentiate counselors. And since soft skills are fundamental to a successful counseling career, I enjoined counseling psychologists to think out of the box and work hard on developing soft skills for better job delivery. My proposition: biblical spiritual parenting and psychotherapeutic pedagogic reengineering. I submit that biblical spiritual parenting is a veritable option for our socio-economic revival and cultural renewal. The hustle and bustle of life and the economic challenges of the times have distracted many parents from their primary calling as parents. This partly explains Nigeria's sordid situation today. If parents will begin to submit to God and obey His laws, the succeeding generations will begin to align themselves to God. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Since all humanity is made by God, and God is the first and perfect parent, it makes sense for humanity to adopt God as parenting model. Thus, if anyone will succeed in his or her role as parents, God should be the reference point. Parents should live out their faith in God for their offspring to see. Since all authority emanates from God, parents also need to submit to godly authority. Parents need to understand that children learn more by what they see than what they hear. Always remember that leaders of tomorrow are children today. What children learn from their parents today, they will exemplify tomorrow. Specifically, taking a cue from God, the pattern parents, who made only two humans, Adam and Eve, at the commencement of humanity, I propose that the number of children per family be limited to a maximum of 4, so that parents are able to adequately nurture and care for their children. Government should legislate that parents should be held responsible for children they bear and or adopt. I also advocate that existing legislations against child abuse should be enforced. This will guide against unwholesome acts against children. I recommend that biblical spiritual parenting be incorporated into the curricula at all tiers of education. This will serve the dual purpose of preparing young persons for adult life and establish the imperative of authentic parenting in the hearts of parents and would-be parents. This step will ultimately culminate in Nigeria's socio-cultural transformation. Psychotherapeutic pedagogic re-engineering. How do we reposition psychotherapy? I must emphasize that psychotherapeutic services need to be provided in schools, in line with the provisions of the National Policy on Education 2004. Adequate funding and infrastructure should be made available to in and out of school counseling centers. In-service training and other career development programs for school counselors should be sponsored by government and other school proprietors. There is a need to revisit counselor training programs to reflect current worldwide best practices. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, with a myriad of social, personal, and developmental challenges confronting humanity, there is need for an updating of counselor training to meet up with the realities of globalization. While counselor training programs should be tailored to meet international standards, they should be adapted to the Nigerian landscape. Our curriculum should be expanded to liberalize counseling services. Counseling psychologists should begin to function in other areas apart from schools and hospitals. Existing legislation for the establishment of counseling centers in tertiary institutions should be enforced. Institutions should be empowered with adequate funding and human resources. The prevailing socio-economic environment in Nigeria makes private counseling services needful. In fact, very needful. Matters such as divorce, sibling rivalry, incest, domestic terrorism, emotional and sexual assault, suicide, depression, addiction, and others provide a platform for cutting-edge psychotherapeutic services. Counselors in the house. Counselors, this is your time. Maximize it. I urge counseling psychologists to continue to work at self-development and exhibit more vibrancy and industry in the discharge of their psychotherapeutic duties. I emphasize that counselors should think more out of the box and demonstrate more versatility and passion and empathy in their calling and to the needs of their clientele. To further accentuate the versatility of counseling psychology, I listed 61 specialization areas for the counseling psychologist, 52 of which was proposed by Agenda 2005. Centrality of the pedagogy. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, since education holds the key to sustainable development, governments at all levels should make education topmost priority. Funding for education should comply with the United Nations Educational, Social and Cultural Organization, UNESCO's minimum standards of 26% of the national budget. While basic education should be free and compulsory for every school-age child, other tiers of education should be both accessible and affordable. Government should return subsidies, scholarships, educational loans, and bursaries into tertiary education, thus making acquisition of higher education attractive and lucrative. I advocate federal, state, and local governments should borrow a lead from the Western Nigeria regional government, 1955 to 1964, the Asian Tigers, and even the Southwestern states in Nigeria, 1979 to 1983, in facilitating free and compulsory education for all Nigerians and at all levels. In each of the cases, funding for education far exceeded UNESCO's recommendation of 26% of budget. If the Asian Tigers miracle worked, there is no reason why it cannot happen in Nigeria. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, it is imperative to invest heavily in education. The Yoruba balance, Omoti Akubako, Uriogbe Ileti Abakota, meaning the child will fail to train but ultimately sell the property we acquire. Comes in handy here. Quality education will positively alter the people's worldview. Education will make the people make informed judgments about issues concerning them and engage more actively and constructively in national and local political debates. I tell you, education is health intervention. Also, I emphasize the need for government to engage public-private partnerships in the provision of infrastructure for tertiary institutions. Government should encourage organizations, corporations, and multinational companies to undertake more endowments in education. Ministry of Education must put in place a system of public-private partnerships for infrastructural and human capacity development to reposition education across board. Federal and state governments should, as a matter of urgency, return secondary schools to their original owners. I suggest that public secondary schools, apart from the older government secondary schools such as King's College Lagos, Bariwa College Zaria, Queen's College Lagos, Government College Ibadan, Government College Umahia, Government College Kaduna, Government College Owerri, and Queen's School Ibadan should be handed over to the various communities where the schools are located. The Parents Teachers Association and all the All Students Association under a systemized PPP's arrangement. Conclusion. The basis of this lecture, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, is that authentic parenting, authentic spiritual parenting, pragmatic counseling, and relevant accessible education are indispensable to sustainable national development. Where and when human values and thinking are changed through godly parenting coupled with cutting-edge counseling services and unfettered access to qualitative functional education is continually provided, not only is socioeconomic development promoted, but improved individual income per capita will be ensured. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, fellow academics, distinguished guests, highly esteemed Leeds City University students, ladies and gentlemen, I stand here to announce to you that Nigeria is coming out of the present lockdown a much better country, a reference point for other nations of the world, a global leader indeed. As governments at all levels begin to provide a level playing field for all school proprietors and ensure every Nigerian has equitable, unfettered access to qualitative education, things will begin to change for the better in this country. Esteemed parents and guardians, I counsel you, begin to deliberately shepherd and nurture your children biblically. All hands must be on deck to ensure the restoration of our values of respect, honor, diligence, dignity, and integrity. Biblical spiritual parenting and psychotherapeutic pedagogic reengineering will resolve the present impasse. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for coming. I thank you for listening to this lecture. Acknowledgement. It is a great honor to be provided the platform to take the 9th inaugural lecture of this remarkable pace-setting university. And I give all the glory to God, who is we all are, who has made me all I am and can ever be, who has made this day to be. I am grateful to the Vice Chancellor of Leeds City University, Professor Abidemi, under whose tenure I am here standing, to the elegant, inventive, and exquisite Registrar, Dr. Odeleye. Thank you for your support and encouragement over the years. I cannot thank enough the exemplary and industrious educational entrepreneur, the man who saw the professor in me in the day he asked me to come on board in 2007. Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council, Leeds City University, Ibadan, Professor Abidemi Odeleye. Thank you. I appreciate the Chancellor, Professor G.B. Ogumala, and the pioneer Vice Chancellor Emeritus Professor Johnson Aladekomo for their efforts in facilitating world-class faculty here at Leeds City University, Ibadan. For my predecessors in the inaugural lecture tradition, eminent scholars in their own right, Professor Femi Onabajo, former Vice Chancellor of Leeds City University, Department of Mass Communication, Professor Shedrack Agubiade, Department of Biochemistry, Professor Chibuzo Woke, Vice Chancellor, Oduduwa University, Department of Politics and International Relations, Professor Felix Onobajo, Department of Management and Accounting, Professor J.O. Omole, Department of Biochemistry, Professor Akola Kemi Orede, Department of Educational Management, Professor Olushola Oladoku, Department of Biochemistry, and Professor K.A. Abidemi Development of Management and Accounting, adore my heart. I recognize the inputs of the University Librarian, Mr. Larry Oshani, the Bossa, Mrs. Taiwo, all deans and heads of departments, especially the Director of Communications, Dr. Abidemi Odeleye, Director of Senate Affairs, Mr. Patuki, Director of Academic Planning, Dr. Adewale, Director of ICT, Mr. Koyi Oweye, Director of Exams and Records, Mr. Kunle Adanikom, and all relational staff for making labels by many so awesome. Some of you in the house are also present here today. I hail for the generation of Mr. Vice Chancellor of Staff. Today, by the grace of God, I be the first Black African to have all degrees at home. BSc Economics, 1958, MSc London, 1961, PhD by Research, Washington, 1980, as external student. A first-rate administrator and teacher. My mother is Mrs. Elizabeth Odeleye. She is a grade 1 teacher extraordinaire and a retired headmistress. She was recalled from retirement to pioneer the University of Ibadan Baptist Primary School as a sports ed teacher. For these two remarkable persons, I say thank you for giving me a great head start in life and for mentoring me to imbibe the tradition of health. You can clap for them, please. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I am grateful to God for my uncles and my aunts who were all over me growing up. Thank you. I bless God for the gift of a wonderful family. My beautiful and vivacious wife, Abidemi Odeleye. You are my God-sent private motivator who always champion my cause. You believed in me. You stood with me even when the waves were furious. I deeply appreciate you. Thank you, my Lord. God's heritage in my life, Toby, Tope, and Damilola, you will never lack support in all your generations. You are my greatest cheerleaders. Thank you for your support, your prayers, and care always. They are watching us far away at this time. Praise God. Christ in you makes living an exciting adventure for me. I dedicate this inaugural lecture to you all. All my siblings and their spouses, Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Studiatitia Akinredi, Mr. and Mrs. Dakobim Odeleye, Mr. and Mrs. Femi Carol Odeleye, Architect and Deaconess Ni Lola Elemide, Engineer and Dr. Mrs. Kayode Okwe, Mr. and Mrs. Toye Yemi Omole, Mr. and Mrs. Biola Bimbo Odeleye. I cannot thank you enough. I must appreciate my immediate elder brother, Femi, for his valuable comments on this work. Thank you so much. All my in-laws and their spouses, Evangelist and Mrs. Sylvester Yetuni Olaomi, Sobio and Mrs. Felix Funke Ajibade, Mr. and Mrs. Akimbola Odunton, and Ms. Shewo Odunton. Thank you for being so wonderful. I'm exceedingly grateful to God for the gift of such an awesome social support system. Thank you very much. I must acknowledge my teachers from nursery all through the university. Particular mention must be made of the late Professor Dayo Adejumo Uncle D, and late Professor I.O. Makinde, the pioneer president, Counseling Association of Nigeria, who made my incursion into health a delight. I would like to appreciate my daughter, my niece in the house with a husband, doctor and Dr. Mrs. Akin Jenkins. The Lord bless you. I would like to recognize my past and present colleagues, firstly in the Faculty of Arts and Education, Professor Okwola Oyedeji, Professor Afalokemi Oredeni, Dr. Abel Paniron, Dr. Matthew Adedeji, Dr. John Oyezere, Dr. Senimetu Leoma, Dr. Femi Okoji, Dr. Angela Robin, Dr. Toyin Oyedeji, Dr. Kamaka Akuchi, Dr. Munilola Oyetade, Dr. Chris Adetui, Dr. Abiola Ojo, Dr. La Tolubewaji, and Ebo Adeyemi. Also my team of researchers, namely Dr. Wole Toyobo, Dr. Fumi Adebi, Dr. Olabisi Killian, And Dr. Ino Akiemi, you are the best. Many thanks for your support. Also for several other academics I may not be able to mention here, I doff my hat. To my faculty manager, Mrs. Tope Amatu, and my personal assistant, Ms. Toro Omowo, I say thank you. I would also like to appreciate my past and present students for being recipients of my research, teaching, and perspectives on pastoral counseling and biblical spiritual parenting. Thank you. I would like to appreciate, even at this point, quintessential leaders in their own rights who discerned God's grace upon my life and provided me platforms at various points in my life. I am grateful. For my brethren and friends indeed, Dr. and Mrs. Goke Adejumo, who provided me with a laptop and paid my way through the PhD program. You are divine instruments in sustaining my dream. Only eternity will repay what you did for me. I'm forever indebted to both of you. I also appreciate a father and mentor, a Christologist par excellence, Reverend Dr. Peter Okediji, founding father of psychology at the University of Ibadan. God used him to stir up my passion for pastoral counseling. I salute a father, and he's here with his wife, retired General Henry Oke, a man of God indeed. Thanks for teaching me, thanks sir, for teaching me the priceless lessons of life. To my long-time friend and senior at Baptist Boys High School, Abeokuta, the pioneer Vice Chancellor, Titular University of Education, Professor Kayode Oyeshuku, for giving me an opportunity to be part of a solid take-up team. I am grateful. I can never forget Professor Lekan Oyedeji, former Dean, Faculty of Education, University of Lagos, and pioneer Dean, Faculty of Education, Lee City University. The soft-spoken, diligent, and resourceful senior academic was God's instrument to see me through the most turbulent season of my academic career. Daddy, thank you very much. To an intellectual of honor, Professor Ajibola Falai, my head of department at Titular University of Education, Ijebu, who saw the leader in me. He appointed me chairman, teaching practice, counseling, practical committee ahead of my seniors. I doff my hat. Professor J.T.B. Oluwatimilene, Professor Oladipo King, Dr. Olani Simi, and all my colleagues at Titular University of Education, I say thank you. I also appreciate my adopted father and mother in the house, Professor Emmanuel Akiade, is a member of the Nigeria Academy of Education and a fellow of Counseling Association of Nigeria. I want to thank you, sir, for urging me to persevere through tough times and for mentoring me. Thank you for your kind words and support, even for going through the manuscripts of this lecture. Thank you. For General Overseer Emeritus of Foursquare Gospel Church in Nigeria, Reverend Gabriel Parobi, the man who saw passion in me and commissioned me into pastoral ministry in 1988, I deeply appreciate you, sir. Also, I want to thank my father in the Lord, the General Overseer of Foursquare Gospel Church in Nigeria, Reverend Felix Nelui, who is powerfully represented by a member of the board of directors of Foursquare Gospel Church in Nigeria, Reverend Solomon Wada. The Lord bless you. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate you. It's through His grace that I was appointed the district overseer in 2015. In that same light, I want to also welcome a parent in Lee City University and also a member of the board of directors, Foursquare Gospel Church in Nigeria, Barrister Oni. The Lord bless you, sir. We are happy to have you here. We would like to thank all the senior ministers. We have our district overseer from Shalom, Reverend and Reverend Mrs. Kayode Ojediron. The Lord bless you, sir. Thank you very much for coming. I want to appreciate all your axial district overseers. Reverend Wale David, thank you for coming. I want to appreciate all our people. The Lord bless you in Jesus' name. I want to thank my Bible professor, Bishop Frank Simmons. I don't know if he's here. If he's here, please let him stand up. is my Bible professor, Bishop Frank Simon. He's my ongoing PhD theology professor. He's my supervisor. He's an American chemistry professor. He has PhD in chemistry. He left all to come to Africa for missionary work over 30 years ago. I appreciate you, Daddy. God bless you. I would also appreciate here in the house the Vice Chancellor, McPherson University, Professor Abidemi Odeleye. Thank you very much for taking our time to be here. I want to appreciate the representative of the Registrar of Prof University, who is here, Mrs. Olufemilayo Okene. The Lord bless you. I want to appreciate my doctor in the house who is representing the provost of Christ Redeemer's Theological Seminary. Thank you very much for coming. Dr. Adejugo was supposed to be here personally, but he's represented here. So thank you very much for coming. And for other academics who are here that I have not recognized, please just accept me the way I am. I'm running against time. I would like to especially appreciate the management and staff of College Press who worked assiduously to make this excellent work. Thank you very much. To the two local organizing committees, Leeds City University, Ibadan, and Foursquare Gospel Church of Oluwabi, who worked behind the scenes to make success of this event, I want to say thank you very much and God bless you. I want to appreciate Professor Ayela Agbe, Professor Dayo all from the Department of Chemistry, University of Ibadan. I want to appreciate the Registrar of UI who came in and Mr. Jimmy Ulukoya. Thank you very much and God bless you. Finally, I must thank all of you, my special guests. And I want to thank the Governor of Oyo State. I must thank them because I took the invitation to the Governor's office personally. I want to thank the Governor of Oyo State, ably represented by Dr. Ojo, who is our friend in this university. That's the Chief of Staff to the Governor. I want to also appreciate Mrs. Opatude, one of us here, but she's special advisor to the Governor on community relations. We want to appreciate all of you for making our time to be here. I want to appreciate, I didn't know that one of mine also is in the house. My sister, my immediate younger sister is here. That is Deaconess Lola Elemide. The Lord bless you. And finally, I must thank all of you, my special guests who have come from near and far just because of me. May you remain forever blessed. In Jesus' name, amen. You will never lack help in all your generations. In Jesus' name, amen. I will want to plead Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, that I just take this chorus because that is what my life is all about. This particular lecture is all about my life. Oh, ray of a child, be better. Yes, go for don't fall asleep.